Hey folks, oops, I did it again. I started my garden kind of late, and after I got a lot of my plants done and my seedlings planted, I realized I didn't have any lettuce. So I got a little desperate, and I went to the local big box store, and I got these. Now the leaves don't look bad, but look at how long the stems are. And these things are long and curly, but I got a solution for that. I'm going to get them planted. I already have my pot set up, some good soil. Lettuce needs lots of nitrogen. So I'm going to add a bunch of cow manure into each of these pots. And since cow manure is not a quick acting fertilizer, I'm also going to add some fish fertilizer. That way it can start absorbing fertilizer immediately. Like today, like immediately after I plant it. So I'm going to make sure I give lots of the longer lasting fertilizer in here. Just some basic cow manure. I wish I had some chicken manure because I actually like that better. Chicken manure is, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best natural fertilizers for your garden. So if you have a friend that has some chickens, ask them if you can get some of that stuff because it is fantastic. Years ago in a former life of mine, I was out in the country and I would see some people with really good gardens. I mean, huge tomato plants, everything was just beautiful and big. And I asked them, how do you get your plants to look so nice and so big? All of them, hands down, said chicken manure. So if you have a family friend, get some chicken manure. The big box stores don't carry it. There's a nursery I know of that carries it sometimes, but and one drawback of chicken manure is it's generally pretty expensive. Much more expensive than cow manure. So I tend to make do with what I can. And you notice I'm trying to dig that cow manure down deeper into the soil. So as the roots reach down, it's running into more cow manure. I might even do a little dressing of some of my compost that I made into the plant later on. Really kind of depends. I know I know I got started late, so I really want to push these plants to grow fast and grow large. And one thing I did, which is what I usually do when I get plants, when I get starters, and one thing I did, which is what I usually do, is when I do buy starters, I find some that have 2 in each pot. I know some people shy away from these because they're afraid that they're going to destroy the plant because the roots are connected. But I can generally separate them and take care of the plant. Now it might seem like I'm being a little rough on them, but the plants are fine. Main thing I'm trying to do is get a lot of that dirt that's binding the roots together away from the roots. You know, just mess with it with your fingers. Might take a minute or two, but you can preserve a lot of your roots. At some point, I just kind of do them like this. Shake them apart. Eventually, lots of roots. So this plant will be fine. And since that stem is so long, I'm going to bury a little more of it than I normally would, but you're still going to have plenty of the plant up top and plenty of the that stem up top. I have 2 plants like that. And even with this one, you can see it was root bound. So even with this one, I am going to mess with the roots, mess with the dirt, encourage the roots to spread out, send the message to the roots, hey, I'm free. I can spread out further. There you go. So don't be discouraged if you're a little late getting things planted. I'm in an environment where things like my lettuce, these are going to last well through the fall and winter, especially since I put it in the greenhouse. Once again, if the roots some, not damaging it, you're just encouraging it. It's like, hey, get up off your behind and do something. Move. Or as my mother used to say back in the day, when she wakes up on Saturday morning, get up, get stirring, get to moving. I want my roots to get stirring. Here we go. And I hate to say that I had to pay $6 for these plants. What have you seen the cost of romaine lettuce in the grocery stores? It's ridiculous. So I'm growing my own. Grow your own groceries. I would probably add fish fertilizer to these plants every couple weeks. Gotta go mix up some more. But anyway, don't get discouraged if you plant it late. In certain areas, you still have time. With the way the climate is nowadays, you never know. You might have through the whole winter where you really don't have any real cold weather, depending on where you are. So don't get discouraged. Get out there and plant. Even if you're a little late. A little wait? So don't get discouraged. Don't get out there and plant. Even if you're a couple weeks late, 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks late, you still might get some decent production if you get started today. Or maybe tomorrow. So even if you're 2 or 3 weeks behind, go on and get something planted. You never know what you're going to get. You're going to get something. I could harvest these today, or I could harvest these in 2 weeks or a month. It depends. And something else I always try to remind people of doing. Use the cut and come again method of harvesting. And what cut and come again method is, when this lettuce is ready, I'm not going to pull up the whole plant. I'm going to cut off a lot of the larger leaves I might leave 50%, I might leave 30% of the leaves left in the interior, not the bigger exterior leaves. I'm going to cut off a bunch of the leaves and leave the plant to keep growing, because it will. It'll keep growing and growing. Then I'll come back, I might harvest off of one plant 2, 3, 4 times. It depends. It depends on how fast it's growing, how big it's growing, and how much I need it. So if you want some more helpful hints and you like what I gave you today, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit that notification button so you can see what I have coming up next. Let's get out there and get a little dirty.